Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday. Yeah, praise the Lord, praise Jesus, and thanks to Him for everything. But besides that, what a crazy week this week, Robert, Tom. I mean, we had so many interesting stories, starting from yesterday, the tragic story of Florida State University,
Yeah.
the shooting. I mean, I don't know what's going on with these people. I don't know what's going on through that 20-year-old's head. But clearly, he wasn't all there, or clearly he had some issues, that many maybe only he knows about. And the interesting thing is that he came from a family whose mother is this top-ranking policewoman, and he used her own gun, right,
Yeah, yeah.
during the shooting.
I think they're already starting to say he was a white supremacist. They're already pulling that.
But he was shooting at white kids.
Yeah. Well,
And he shot white kids, and so people can already speculate instantly. I mean, that's what we are known, to do best: provide the best speculation without
Yes.
any resourceful information,
yeah, any facts?
any facts. That's what we are great at, and yeah, that's unfortunate. But for sure, in my opinion, something wasn't right.
Yeah, it's something a lot that's not right in a lot of kids today, and we're finding that out. It's bad parenting. People have kids and they don't parent their kids. They let their kids bring themselves up.
That's unfortunate,
Yep.
and they let that one of those phones or tablets raise them as well. So this actually is something that's going on in my boys' school. So there's this TikTok video or YouTube video that was shown by these rappers. One rapper died, because another, rival gang member killed him. It was a 14-year-old, by the way.
Yeah.
That rapper that died was 14 years old. And they stabbed him. They stabbed him multiple times. This was in New York. And then there's this rap song or this dance comes out based on that murder. Okay?
Really?
And yep, based on that murder. And now that's popular throughout the entire country. And then, that kid that died, his brother said, whoever does that dance, make sure you hit him, or you kick him, or you jump him, and so on and so forth. And this is what's going on in schools today in America.
Yeah. Once again, I know you're gonna bleep this, but it's because we got rid of the word and we can't use it because nobody wanted to be called when you were young, so you didn't act that way. Because people would go, "What are you?" And you'd go, "No, man." So you wouldn't act that way. I know this. I know the words. It's coming
Yeah.
back. It makes no sense. And then you got the other kid that they got a GoFundMe account for who stabbed another sports guy. I guess they were runners on the track. They got into a little spat, and the guy
Yeah.
pulled out a knife and stabbed him and killed him.
Wow. Wow.
Carmelo Anthony, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and now they got all this money, and once again, I don't know what's true and what's not anymore, but they're saying that they took the money and put it down on a house and a car. All the money they're raising for this kid who black kid stabbed a white kid. So, there we go.
Well, it's unfortunate, and that's how actually some of our immigration policies are kind of to be turning out on both ends. Actually, there was, I don't know if you heard about this, about a Texas woman that got arrested by ICE. So they were they were doing completely something else, like a check on somebody else, and this poor lady, she's a Salvadorian lady. ICE detained her earlier in this month, and she's been here forever, and she's part of the, what is it called, the Violence Against Women Act. That's how she trying to become legalized, because anyways, I don't know, if maybe she had some domestic abuse in her family, but
So 39 years. Now,
39 years. There you go.
39 years.
39 years. She's a citizen, not a citizen, but not a maybe legal citizen. What I meant, as a person living here,
She's illegally here.
she's illegally here. Yeah.
39 years. So what is it that these people don't understand? That, okay, I made it 10 years. Oh, I made it 20 years. I made it. I mean, there's got to be a point where they want to say, well, why don't they want to become a citizen? I don't understand, because you can do it legally. There are people that have come here who have surrendered themselves, as we were talking earlier, who said, you know what, I'm seeking asylum. Help me. and the government helps them. And then you got people who just jump the border and don't do anything and just keep like, okay, I haven't got caught yet. I haven't got caught yet. 39 years is a long time to not.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but first and foremost, our immigration process is not the best. It's not swift, and there are a lot of levels that you kind of have to advance to before you get to that citizenship level. First, I don't know, I think you have to get a green card or become a naturalized, before you become a naturalized citizen. And I see your point. 39 years, that's a lot of time. But most likely she was a child when she came. How old is she? She's 50 years old. There
She
you
was
go.
11. 11
So
years
she
old.
was 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we're speculating right instantly, right?
What do you say?
We're speculating. What were we talking about? Speculation.
But still, let's.
But I can get your point if you didn't know, and obviously you
30
didn't.
years. 30
So
years.
39 years she's been here. She's 50 years old. I mean, she's been here since 11. So most likely her parents were never legal. Therefore, she never became legalized. And then I don't think maybe, she knew any better afterwards, and she just stayed like that. But I still understand what you're saying.
It's like joining the mafia, right? You basically
want to get made.
you got to always look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like even with your friends, you got to always look over your shoulder because then you might be on somebody's hit list.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this kind of living this life. She
I
had to
know.
have been nervous anytime she's seen some kind of police officer. Why would you put yourself through this kind of stress? It can't be. Come on, we're a pretty liberal country. We're the only country that allows this shit to go on. You can't do this shit in Mexico. You can't do this shit in any of the other South American countries. You can't go into Canada and just say, I'm going to just stay here for 40 years. We're pretty lenient. And what happens is, some people are going to fall through the cracks, man. I'm going to give her 30 years. I'm going to say she was an adult for 30 years here.
I get it, but I don't think.
It's not that I don't have any empathy
you-
for her, but again,
I see what you're saying, but this is what this country is about. Is about immigration, and I understand legal immigration is the best practice to do so. However, there are instances where people come here illegally and they become good, productive, hardworking citizens that benefit this country. They collect the fruits of their labor and pass it on to the rest of the generation, and to grow and be great human beings. But at the same time, I see what you're saying, okay? But if you haven't committed any fraud, any felony, you haven't killed anybody, you haven't stabbed anybody, if you weren't violent, I don't think they should fucking deport you after living here or detain you after living here
Well,
for
39
years,
detaining's one thing, deporting's another thing. We have this guy Garcia,
Yeah.
who I read the Homeland Security report on him. It's on government, the government.gov or whatever. And the liberal media once again is making this guy out to be father of the year, constantly showing pictures with his children, and he was fraternizing with MS-13 people, whether he's a member or not. There's no proof, but he was still around them. The thing that aggravates me is that he beat his wife multiple times, and she called the cops on him multiple times. Now, if you're beating your wife multiple times and the cops are showing up, that means you're beating your wife a lot more. She just got fed up, because a woman will take a beating, and then one day she's going to say, enough's enough. So this guy had to have been beating her up all along. So when they put this guy on a pedestal, and that douche bag from Maryland, the senator who's using government funds to go down to El Salvador to make sure that he's okay. Do you make sure that the homeless people in the street in Maryland are okay? Do you make sure that the veterans that come back from war are okay? Or are you just worrying about this dirt bag? Come on. I can't. How can I ever vote for a Democrat again after the last 6 years? I don't understand. They're just a bunch of. Look at this douchebag. Oh, are you okay? What about your constituents? Are they okay? The people that live from month to fucking month can't get a job. Are they okay? No, you're worried about this guy.
What's our unemployment rate? 4.6%?
4.3.
4.3%. Yeah.
And I just want to say this. Have you, I've been to Baltimore before. Have you guys been to Baltimore?
I have not.
I think I've driven through it.
It's not a great city.
Really?
There's crime. The infrastructure is horrible. And on top of that, the people there are hurting, actually hurting. There isn't a lot of jobs there. I mean, they have the ports, yeah, but for God's sake, you can only work for a port for like 25 years, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. But one thing I want to point out to you guys right here, in 2021, Kilmar was arrested, and he freely admits of being a citizen and national of El Salvador by birth. So even in 2021, he said, "Oh, I'm a citizen of El Salvador."
Yeah, yeah.
And he doesn't want to go back because he's afraid of the rival gangs of the MS-13 are going to kill him. Why would they kill him if he wasn't a gang member of the MS-13?
Nobody wants to leave this country, regardless you're a gang
Well,
member.
wait a minute. On that
Everybody wants to stay
topic, Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell.
She left this country.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Have you seen her picture? Have you seen the latest picture of her in a bikini?
No, I have not. No, I don't usually Google her.
She left because she's got money and she can go live in a nice place in Ireland. They don't even want her there.
In Ireland?
Yeah.
So there's this apparently big trend of Americans moving to Canada and flashing their Canadian passports. That's right, Tom? Yeah. So there's this trend. You know how before Trump was supposed to get elected, and everybody was saying, if Trump gets elected, I'm moving to Canada, and then nobody did. So now apparently there's some people, moving to Canada, but not because of Trump. Apparently it's better there, it's cheaper there, and so on and so forth. But they don't know the house prices on average are twice as higher than it is here in the U.S. The average house prices. We have a unemployment rate of what, 4.2%.
Yeah.
Their unemployment is almost 7%. 7%.
And the cost of living up there with the taxes is a lot more than here.
74,000 Canadians. They died due to wait lists from healthcare companies or hospitals and so on and so forth. Look, can you pull that up?
I talked to Canadians.
More than 74,000 Canadians have died on healthcare wait lists since 2018, and they're bragging about social healthcare program. You know that it's free, they don't charge for, but they forget there's like maybe an auditorium of people waiting to see one doctor.
The only people that I talk to that are pro-Canadian,
Yeah.
I mean, like, they got a great system up there, are Americans. Because all the Canadians I talk to are not happy.
Have you been to Canada?
Yes.
Okay. So I haven't been on the west side. I've been on the east side. I've been to Quebec, Montreal. And there is, it's beautiful.
Yeah. The women are beautiful.
The woman in the city.
Yeah.
The city is beautiful. They have nice architecture. Anyways, we have some dear friends over there who live there, and they toured us around. They fine dined us. And anyways, it was downtown is spectacular. A lot of high-end shops. A nightlife. Anyways, it's up there. And for a moment, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, dude, I think it'd be great if we live here. And then my entrepreneurial mind started to click and started to ask questions. I said, hey, can you open up a liquor store here or something, for example, as a business? And they said, no way, Jose. The only liquor, the only people that sell liquor and tobacco here is the state.
Yeah.
Is the government. You cannot have any what that told me? That if they're putting a limitation, who can sell liquor and tobacco, what else are they not going to put a limitation on? As a business, I'm in healthcare here. And healthcare is privatized here. It's a big, big business. A lot of people make a lot of money in healthcare. Over there, it's what? The government pays for it. There's no private healthcare. So I was thinking, what the hell am I going to do? So I said, we'll pass on this one, honey.
And who do they bow to?
What's his name? Justin Trudeau?
No.
Oh, the Queen?
Yes.
Or the Kingdom, yeah.
They
the Kingdom.
bow to the Kingdom of England.
Yeah, Kingdom of England. They're still part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if you knew this, but the United Kingdom, all the commonwealths that they have, they appoint governors to those. Besides that, each respective country has its own prime minister or president, right, or the parliament, and so on and so forth. The UK assigns a governor It's like we have governors of our states,
Yeah.
they have governors of their commonwealth, and they're actually very politically influential. So
They
take
could
the-
become Commonwealth of the United States.
Common. I hope not. They used to be the Commonwealth of the United States until 1776. But yeah.
Hey, what do you think? I was at the store the other day, and it just aggravates me. What do you think of this? I mean, it seems like more and more stores are going, even like CVS. I mean, all of them going self checkout.
Like digitized.
Self
like
checkout meaning they're
self-checkout.
getting rid of an employee's
Yeah.
job and putting
Yeah,
a computer there.
They're becoming more like employee less.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not fond of technology taking over a lot of jobs. I love technology. I'll be very honest. I can't live without it.
Oh, we can, of course.
I can't live without that phone. Without AI. I can't live without it right now. However, at the same time, I think we shouldn't put in a lot of effort of taking away jobs from especially stores like that where a lot of people depend on it. Because this is the way I'm thinking. If we start implementing all AI and technology into our daily tasks and we take away those jobs, our unemployment rate, besides the fact that it will skyrocket, a lot of people won't have the intelligence or the expertise to transition into different type of jobs, which is going to be technology based, which is going to be, I don't know, some sort of a business. And that's just going to make a lot of chaos in this country. I mean, think about it.
So I was thinking the other day as I'm watching the zombies all over the social media, like hunched over, drooling, and it's like thousands and thousands of homeless people on drugs, zombies, and what came to my mind was we don't have a manufacturing base here. So everything, like they're always like, oh, our jobs are more mental, and we don't need those jobs. But we do need those jobs because we have so many people that are lost. And if you put them in a position and give them something to live for,
You're right.
maybe they won't be doing drugs because they have nothing else to do, because drugs is basically a pastime, starts off as a pastime on board, and then whatever goes into
You're absolutely
mental
right.
health issues. And this is one of the things, like I enjoy talking to a cashier and joking around with them.
Yeah.
One time I put a bag of dog food. I was at Ralph's and I put a bag of dog food on the conveyor belt, and the cashier's looking at me. I go, my mother-in-law's coming to town. And sometimes
She
they
started laughing.
she started laughing. But sometimes they go, that's rude. Like today, oh, that's
Oh, no
rude.
way.
Yeah. But I always throw that, and most people laugh and you joke around with them. I see their name. A lot of
Maybe
people.
she was a mother-in-law.
Well, she's not my mother-in-law.
No, I know, but that's what she said. That's rude.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I mean, there's you go to the store, it's almost they're taking away the social aspect of our society and putting us in a room and saying, buy from this screen. And they're doing it more and more, and that's why we have zombies. That's why we have brain dead people. Nobody has any imagination. That's just my thought on it.
No, I definitely agree with you. You couldn't have said better, and that's what I was saying. If we start to replace all these, people with their jobs with technology and AI, and have self checkouts and this and that, what are they gonna do? That's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what you're saying. I think besides the unemployment rate will skyrocket, drug use will skyrocket, mental health will skyrocket, and a lot of issues that we're facing today and we can't take care of. I think that's those issues are going to double, triple, quadruple if these jobs are taken over by technology and AI.
Because we saw it during COVID. Alcohol sales were through the roof. Drug sales were through the roof.
Casinos were through the roof. Are you kidding me? Casino stocks, they were like, I called almost every friend I have. I said, listen, during COVID, I said, buy casino stocks, okay? Buy hotel airfare stocks or things like this. So there was a MGM stock was, how much was it? I don't even remember during COVID, like $8, $9, something like this. It tripled or something, casino, all hospitality stocks, they just freaking
I guess I'm
skyrocketed.
not your friend because you didn't call me.
No. Don't worry. Don't worry. I chickened out myself to invest. I transferred a lot of money into my brokerage account, and then I didn't. I just stupidly did not invest. Well, I was doing something else with it. That was another reason. But yeah. Anyways, but it's an interesting week. What about them tariffs?
I'm still pro tariff.
Really?
Oh, I'm still pro tariff because we're gonna it's gonna be rocky.
Yeah.
But they're already coming to they're already coming to, and I'm not pro. I'm all about reciprocal. Let's make it fair, right? So yeah, the stock market went down, then it went up 3,000 points, and it went down, then it went back up 1,000 points. Whatever. That's happens all the time. Maybe not to that extent, but it's always up and down.
No.
I think.
But you know
These countries are coming to the. Look at Italy was there saying we want to work a deal. They're all coming to the table.
No. Listen, I'm not concerned about Europe. That's the least of my concerns. I'm not talking about small countries. With like Italy. I mean, yeah, it's a big country in Europe. Don't get me wrong. What I'm trying to say, small countries in economic stability or or their GDP or their purchasing power. Things like that. On the other hand, you know why the stock market went up? Most likely, I mean, most 99%. Trump put a 90-day halt. He put a 90-day halt on the tariffs, right? And then all of a sudden, the market, adjusted back to itself to 40,000.
To certain countries.
Not all countries, yeah. And then, but China, really? I mean, I don't know, man. I think he's gonna have a tough time with China.
Well, the thing that aggravated me about this was he did take off the tariffs on chips in cell phones and stuff like that, and I'm like, no, man, no. Let's figure something out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't half-ass it. Like, I understand people coming to the table say, "Oh, if we want to talk, okay, we're going to put a 90-day halt on these countries because they want to talk to us." But China's not talking to us. This is the battle between us and China. We were talking earlier about how China's going into Africa
Yeah, it's been in Africa,
robbing them of all their minerals.
25 years already.
This is a country rich in everything.
China.
No, Africa.
Oh, Africa you're talking about.
And they're just raping, and they're using their own people to enslave their own people to pick out minerals with teaspoons, little kids.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. So we can have a battery in our phone, so we can have a battery in our car. And then, you're abusing people. You're abusing human life for bullshit. We can have a car with a carburetor and spark plugs the way we used to, and it's not going to destroy the environment the way that robbing the land of its minerals.
But do you see how China positioned itself since 2000s?
Yeah,
to be where they are today, and we did the quite opposite actually.
It's called baby steps.
Yeah.
No, but that's what their philosophy is.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. They do it little by little so you don't notice it happening until it's too late.
And then you see them fucking running.
Yeah.
Baby steps. Baby steps compound, and you walk, I mean, and then you start running marathons. I think that's what they're doing. They're running marathons right now. I mean, second largest economy in the world, largest purchasing power in the world. I don't think it's a force to be reckoned with. I think Trump should maybe reposition himself strategically.
It depends who you ask. Like, there's people out there saying that China's economy is tied to real estate, and they're having a lot of problems with real estate. And by doing this, by stopping production, that's going to fuck up their economy big time.
You're right. Real estate was a very big part of their economy. I don't remember how many percent, but it was. I mean,
they build buildings, but nobody in them.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Yeah, as a good chunk. But also, they have a lot of people. That's why they were building a lot. Take that into consideration. They were building a lot, just like we were building here. I mean, a lot of building is going in the U.S. I don't know if you've been to Texas lately.
No.
Texas, man. So I've been going to Texas for the past how many years? Almost 8 years. Okay, at least once or twice a year I go to Texas, and Texas has just transformed into a completely different state. The first time I went, like if you wanted to go to a different store, you had to drive like a mile away.
Yeah.
Can you imagine us having a store between a store and have all that mass, all that land empty? Impossible. I mean, real estate here is limited. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Here in LA. Now, the last time I went to Texas, last year. They've been building badass hotels, big communities, a lot of, there are apartment buildings, like we have here apartment buildings, 20 units, 30 units. You know how many theirs are? I don't know, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000 units. I mean, crazy apartment buildings. If you go to Dallas, northwest of Dallas, that is where I usually go to Denton. And it's just, it's
Who
crazy.
wants to live in a building with 500 units? One person leaves their stove on, and you lose all your stuff.
This generation does.
Yeah.
This generation does because it's almost impossible to buy a house. So they build these tiny apartments on a few hundred square feet. They rent them out for and rent in Dallas. It's compared to here, it's pretty cheap. It's affordable.
They say that a lot of Californians are going to Austin, which brings me to another topic that I wanted to talk about because I just don't get it. There's a TV show called Kill Tony.
Kill Tony.
Kill Tony. It's this. I didn't know he was gay, but it seems like this is a guy because they keep saying gay things to him about having stuff put on his back, and he sits at a table with a couple comedians, and then they just have people come up, like people that want to be comedians and tell jokes. It is the worst, most horrible
I've seen this.
show I've ever seen.
Why? It's interesting.
The people are not funny, and then you can even see Joe Rogan was on the one that
I've seen Joe Rogan on this as well.
he was on the one on Netflix. That Netflix has a show of it, and I was watching it.
I love Fluffy. I love Fluffy.
I couldn't get through the show because the comedians were so horrible, and it just brings me to
so
why
is this like an X Factor for comedians, like talent show kind of a?
That's
but
what
only for
that's
comedians?
probably like a open mic night, I think.
Got it,
And but some of these people are recurring, and like some of the people on the show on Netflix were reoccurring, and they're not funny.
But
It's just
are there attendees? Like, is there a public?
well, Joe did his what's the name of his theater in Austin that he dedicated to this? The Mothership. Joe Rogan has a place called the Mothership.
Yeah.
In Austin and dedicated it to this, I guess, or maybe he's getting kickback. I don't know. And so all these people are on there, and it just goes to show everything in like there's you got Bill Burr and you got Dave Chappelle and you got all these great comedians, right? And like music, I grew up at a time where I grew up in this basically I'm going to say the 70s and 80s were peak music times for my life. And the music was incredible, okay? It became more computerized, digital in the 80s. But it's same thing with comedians. There's so many great comedians out there. I'm finding a lot of these really funny black comedians I'm finding. And I can't remember their names right now. I just laugh and laugh and laugh. But nobody knows them. Nobody really knows them. But why don't you put those guys on this show instead of these fucking dumbing down America with movies, with TV, now with comedy. I mean, come on, man. I give this show a thumbs down.
There's some people in this bucket that are over 200 years old. We'll get to the bottom of that, though.
He's exactly right.
Yeah,
It
right.
is a disgusting disgrace what this show has become. There's 200-year-old men in that bucket, and Elon's going to sniff them out like a
That's right.
retarded truffle pig.
Right. Yeah.
I like Kyle Dunnigan. You like Kyle Dunnigan?
I love Kyle.
Kyle is awesome.
Love him as a person. Love him as a comedian.
I never met him, but I
so
like his
cool.
stuff.
Dude, so cool.
This was funny.
Yeah.
So Kyle was playing Elon.
Yeah. This was funny.
That's the funniest part of the show.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
But they're professionals.
Oh, both of them are pros?
Yes, both of those
I
are.
see.
They do stand up. They got shows. I don't know why Kyle Dunnigan does an incredible Bill Maher, the best Bill Maher I've ever seen. Yeah,
I love Bill Maher too. Actually, I think his comedy is like, and his seriousness, they go along so well. I don't think too many people can do that. Where he his comedic part, his where he comes out and makes a lot of fun of modern day issues and politics, and then he gets into like serious issues.
yeah. He just couldn't do it anymore with the woke. He just had to stop saying I can't support this anymore.
I mean, he's still on that side, but he has.
But he's an old school. He's an old
very
school liberal.
He has common sense. He has a beautiful house. I've been to his house one time. Yeah. We were at an event. They were doing this event, and me and Sam, Tom, me and Sam, we went together. We had so much fun. He has this, I don't know, like 2-3 acre property.
Yeah, no, I like him. I mean, he's kind of a pompous ass at times, but I think overall he's very self-confident, self-assured. Nobody gave him what he has. Nobody gave him.
He's a legend. He's been doing this. I mean, forever.
70s.
Yeah. Since he was a young guy. He had what, politically incorrect or something.
Before that, he was on TV shows. He was in movies.
Yeah.
He had a sitcom.
No, I think he's a badass. I really admire him.
What do you think of the rich Americans taking their money and putting it in Swiss banks?
Oh, we've been doing that like, I don't know.
No, but there's a surge.
Oh, surge?
A surge of rich Americans putting their money.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they're looking into something, or they're fearing something. They want to hide their money, or they want to keep their money safe. Something going on here in the U.S. What, the paranoid. If you're paranoid, then you anticipate things. I guess you're a little bit ahead, and I think that's what they're doing, kind of. Yeah. Or as PBD says it, what, the paranoid survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. When I say paranoid, I mean in the sense of you're forecasting things. You look ahead. You look at trends. You compare and contrast. Certain events that happened in the past, and you can kind of speculate and predict the future. How it's gonna go down, or how we look at, I don't know, the Smoot-Hawley Act of the 1930s. That after the crash, after the 29 crash, they did the Smoot-Hawley Act tariff, which should put tariffs on, what we're doing right now, because everybody complained that, hey, everybody's taking away our jobs. We don't have enough jobs here. And then that just freaking crashed even more the economy. The unemployment rate skyrocketed high. And
who are we trading with? Because we didn't open our gate to trading till Richard Nixon. So who were we trading with back then?
Nixon. So Nixon started trading, or the dialogue. Nixon started the dialogue with China about trading. So Nixon looked ahead as well.
Mm-hmm.
But and then in the 90s, when Clinton was in power at the time, so there was this, and I think that's one of the reasons we had one of the highest and stable GDP growths in our history. Was it almost 5% GDP growth from 92 until 2000, which is, he had a surplus in the budget. It was because of that open trade with China that we started shipping everything to China, like making them make everything. And then China had this industrial revolution where they started creating factories, and this big commerce started to happen between China. And then, like I was mentioning the other day, in 2000, they joined the WTO, the World Trade Organization, which just opened the floodgates, and then the entire world started trading with China. And that's kind of where we went downhill, and we have a trade deficit right there.
He also cut a lot of the government jobs. To balance the budget, he cut a lot of.
Who?
Clinton.
Oh, Clinton.
Clinton cleaned house.
Clinton. That's what I'm saying. Clinton might have had, whatever he did with
sexual
Monica.
relations with that woman.
Sexual relations with that woman. But I don't give a shit, to be honest.
I don't either. But what he did is they laid a trap for him to perjure himself.
That's not gonna make him, a worse president. You know what I'm saying?
No guy gives a shit.
Yes, it's immoral. Don't get me wrong. If you're married, but I don't. As a citizen of this country, I don't care if one leader is making my, country a great one. I don't care what it does.
This man was charged with these things when he was governor of Arkansas. He was charged, Paula Jones, all of these cases. So we knew who he was, but he did a good job. And this is the same thing I'm saying about, Trump. I rather have a clown in the office that is doing a good job policy-wise than some smooth-talking Gavin Newsom type of guy that just...
You love
That's the only guy I wouldn't shake his hand.
You wouldn't?
I would not shake that hand. Never.
Don't
never.
say that because we're gonna have him on the show.
I'm not shaking his hand. He with my kids, and I'm not happy about it. You know, I will shake Kamala Harris's hand, Biden's hand, anybody, politician's hand. That man took 2 years out of my kid's life and made them stay home in front of a computer screen for school while his kids went to school. So you, Gavin. I wouldn't shake your hand. Be lucky I wouldn't spit in your face.
Did you guys hear about Gavin's going to be filing a lawsuit to end President Trump's tariffs?
I did.
I mean, can you really do that? Is that even
I
possible?
don't know. I mean, a state filing against the federal government. I don't get him. Every time Trump comes here, flies to California, Gavin is, just weasels himself into him and make sure, Trump loves him at the time. And then once Trump leaves, he starts doing stupid shit like this.
Yeah, well, here's my thing. Don't you feel like Trump will retaliate towards the state of California if this lawsuit really does happen?
Of course he would.
I feel like he might cut, government
that's
spending.
that's the nature of Trump. I mean, of course he would.
Do you think that Gavin's doing this because California is starting to switch?
Oh, no.
Absolutely, that's a possibility.
He said yes, because then the people will get angry if Trump. Because like I talked to a lot of registered Democrats that voted for Trump. So
and I'm one of them.
So there we go. And I've met the other day. I met 3 more. So the thing is, they don't openly say it out here because you're gonna have to go through a battle because people just can't understand why you would vote for Trump because they think that they have all the answers in their head. So I think if Trump, if he can get Trump, because Trump likes to fight. That's what he loves to do. If he can get him into a fight where he takes stuff away from California, because California is starting to turn red.
Slowly, it's shifting. Yeah, a lot of counties during this last presidential cycle, they voted red.
Trump needs to step back.
Yeah. It might, possibly become a swing state. And you know how we're gonna find out? From the rhetoric of these gubernatorial candidates. Whatever they preach, whatever they say that they're gonna do, whatever their rhetoric is during the campaign trail, that's when we can find out that these people either they know they did some polls, they did some investigation that these counties have switched mostly from like super left-wing blue to a little bit more moderate, like Clinton, for example, because the Clinton, the Democrat, the Democrat that Clinton was is not the same Democrat today.
A blue dog.
Yeah. A blue dog or a yellow dog is a blue dog.
Blue dog.
Yeah, blue dog Democrat. But
and that was, and also a lot of Republicans voted for Bill Clinton. He got Republican votes too.
Yeah,
because he worked with Republicans. He worked with Newt Gingrich. They got together and they made things happen. They compromised. They don't do that anymore. They just fight.
Was Arkansas at the time like a red state when he won his governorship, or he got elected as governor? Can you check on that, Tom?
Probably was.
In 92. Can you put in 1990s if Arkansas was a blue or red state?
It says right here is a blue state.
Blue state?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Okay. Never mind then.
What do you think of the measles outbreak?
Oh, I don't know. We have what, 800 cases, Tom?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. But my question for you is this. Growing up, it was normal for kids to have measles, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you had measles back in the day, what did you have to do?
You stayed home from school.
Exactly. They're treating this like it's AIDS. They're treating it like it's COVID. Like, you've had chicken pox before, right?
I believe I did.
Okay. You know what you did? You stayed home.
And you know what? And you loved it because you didn't have to go to school.
But hold on. Don't kids get vaccinated for this nowadays?
Yeah, they do.
For measles?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we still have outbreaks?
Yeah, it can happen.
So does that mean that vaccinations don't work?
Maybe some families don't believe in the measles vaccine or believe in some points of modern medicine.
Oh, okay, I got it.
That's
so no. I'm talking about the kids that got vaccinated. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I've been vaccinated against COVID, and
you got COVID.
in March, end of March, I got COVID.
That tells you that the government was lying to us.
Okay, but not now. This is different though, because when my COVID was done, I was I had severe headaches. I was in really deep depression. I was thinking suicidal thoughts
When you had COVID?
when I was over.
When you were over COVID?
And I did the research, and they said there's a thing called long COVID, which your brain becomes inflammation
Yeah.
takes over your brain and depletes your serotonin and dopamine,
Holy shit.
so that when it comes down, you have these.
There you go. Long COVID and depression are linked, with studies showing significant.
So I was
percentage.
having suicidal thoughts at nighttime.
Oh no.
Of course, I fought it because I go, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
How many people there were other people out there that don't have the strength?
Do you think the vaccination had something to do with it?
I'm just saying that who's making these viruses in the lab and releasing them?
Oh, I
That
don't know.
people want to. I mean, I was in such pain for 3 days mentally.
Yeah, I got COVID too. I almost got onto a ventilator. My oxygen tanked to like, I don't know, like below 80, like 79, 78%. Anyways, and I was what? I was like 34 years old, something like this, 33 years old. Yeah, so I took it real bad too.
And I got vaccinated.
Yeah, I don't know. I never got vaccinated. I didn't look forward to it. Anyways, I'm glad.
We were talking about measles, and maybe there's a
glad
new
I didn't.
measles. I don't know. That is something that's been created in a lab.
So speaking of vaccines and COVID-19, and one of the biggest critics of that is RFK.
Yeah.
And now he's in charge of Health and Human Services, and he's talking about the correlation of which he's been talking about forever. He wrote a book on this as well, right? Correlation of vaccination and autism, and how it's actually really affecting our children. And I don't know if I haven't studied too much about this, but what do you think?
Well, there's a possibility for anything because everybody's body is different. Nobody has the same body. Nobody has the same cells, and they treat all our diseases like we're all the same, and we're not. That's the first problem. The second thing is, we got measles. You know what I mean? That are affecting some people, not affecting some people. So vaccines have to have the same thing. Some stuff in the vaccine have to affect certain people's biochemistry where it may trigger autism. It's got. I mean, he's also talking about the toxic environment that we live in, the food we eat. We're talking about the air that we breathe, the microplastics that are in our systems, that are in our bottled water.
That's also a big factor of
Of
autism.
course.
For that, when modern day moms, they get polluted with, like you said, plastic, microplastics, and drinking out a lot of water bottles that made of plastic, I don't know, foam and all these types of products, or food toxins. You said,
Doritos.
I've seen these, these videos showing some parents removing foods that are high in toxins from their kids who have autism, and they turn out to be okay, like after a certain period of time. So that can be a leading cause as well.
So my son loves Doritos, so of course I eat Doritos. And I've always loved them, but I was reading, it's got red dye number 40 in it,
Yeah.
which is a petroleum-based coloring.
Oh, wow.
So this is the shit in our food. Now I said, I'm not eating these things anymore. I said, first of all, I got a big bitch with Doritos or Frito-Lay, is that, number one, you're giving us less Doritos, and you're charging us more money. Okay, $6 for a bag of Doritos.
The
in
bag gets the
Now-
filling inside gets little.
I will be
Less and
willing to
less.
pay that if you get the shit out of the dyes. You don't need to have red number 40, and there's another color, which is petroleum based. I want a corn chip that tastes like cheese. That can't
Yeah.
be that hard.
I hope that's what he should, I hope he concentrates on things like that, taking out all that crap from our foods. I mean, we have foods here in the US that in Europe it's like below their standards. They will not accept, that product in their country because of all that, bullshit chemicals that we have here. And we feed that to our kids on a daily basis. Speaking of chemicals and food things like that, there's this unusual request from the Seattle Police Department for people to smoke marijuana and then go get tested and see how it affects them as driving under the influence. Can you imagine? They're just they want people to smoke or eat edibles with marijuana infused foods or smoke a vape with marijuana, and then they go and they participate in a sobriety test.
So you can't do drugs as a police officer. So they want people to do drugs. Why don't they just do it themselves? Do it yourself. Put the stuff in your system yourself and do it. I mean, why are you going to make me give you information about?
I mean, we're kind of used to that anyway. The
You
government
could just smell it. It's all over the highway.
The government always made or they tested on human subjects here privately, so it's not like the MK Ultra thing we were talking about with
Charles Manson.
Unabomber.
Yeah.
What was his name? Ted Kaczynski? No,
yeah,
not
Ted Kaczynski. My question for you is: you love Ted Kaczynski, right?
who loved.
Do I love him?
You're fascinated by him.
I admire his writing that technology is going to be the destruction of society. Yes,
And that's
I agree
exactly
with
what's
that.
happening.
That's what I and what happened is
But he was a genius, Tom.
Yeah, I know he was a genius.
He was a genius. He got accepted to Harvard when he was 16 years old.
Oh my god.
then they put him in a program
Yeah.
and they fucked with him.
And then his psychology professor, what's his name? Murray? Can you Google is the psychology professor from Harvard? I mean, he was so depressed. Ted, was it Ted Kaczynski? Was that his name?
Yeah, Ted Kaczynski. I just bought his book again
Really?
because I printed out his manifesto on a computer.
Yeah.
because I wanted to read it, and I said now it's being studied in colleges.
Oh,
so
that's right.
Henry Murray.
Yeah, Henry Murray. There you go. Ted Kaczynski. You're right. So this guy, Henry Murray, was this very ultra famous psychologist. Okay, throughout the country, and Ted Kaczynski ended up in his class, and because he was so young and he was going to Harvard with older kids, and besides being young, he wasn't from a very affluent family, and these Harvard kids are from very well off families, and they mistreated him. They called him names and they made fun of him, on the way he dressed.
well,
and
he did.
and so on and so forth. And then he got depressed over time, and this freaking professor noticed that because he's a psychologist, right? He just grasped it like this and say, "Oh, this guy's going to be a great test subject," because the CIA hired him for the MK Ultra program, to do all these human tests, and he was one of them.
Well,
and
what
they messed him up.
What happened? This is a documentary on Netflix I just watched, and this man took it before he went crazy.
Yeah.
Took him in and put him in they tested him. They were like, it was 4 years where they would bring him in a room and they'd say, why do you think this? Like they would ask him like things that he believed and some of his hypothesis, and he would berate him.
Yeah.
He would berate him like, oh, yeah, you really believe that's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And he would do stuff like that. So his friends, he used to have lunch with his friends when he first was a freshman.
Uh-huh.
And then they said after he started going to these sessions,
Yeah.
which I guess they got paid for, they said he started becoming more of an introvert, and eventually he would go sit by himself and he wouldn't talk to anybody.
Exactly.
So this motherfucker,
Henry Murray. Yeah.
it was fucking with young men's minds.
Speaking of morality, with our USC professor, right? You are shaping the future of this country, and look, so would you say he has some responsibility or being responsible for Ted Kaczynski turning out the way he turned out as the
Of course he
Unabomber,
does.
right?
Of
This
course
guy?
he does. Harvard has responsibility, and that's why he was sending his stuff probably to the universities.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was exactly. There you go. He was putting bombs on campuses and to teachers and to professors and to places of higher education. And this schmuck, made him
Look at him.
all messed up in the head.
He looks And once again, I always want to say this: don't get offended. We have fun
I
here.
thought you were gonna say buy my book.
Nobody's buying it. I'm writing another one. Ugh. Yeah, buy my book. But
I'm writing one too.
hey, are you? Yeah, you should.
I'm like 30 pages down.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm 60 in my new book.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
yeah, but just this is all for fun. There's no venom in this. This is no malice in what we say. We're here
Absolutely, yeah.
just talking about subjects and
Just
having
pure-
fun.
Yep.
Take it easy. Don't get triggered. We're not that type of people.
Yeah, pure
we love
pure
you all.
opinion, pure speculation.
Yeah.
We love to speculate, but no, honestly, this is fun for us, and I hope informative, for some people, and I hope some people can learn things from us.
Yeah.
Speaking about facts and current events and putting our take on it, and putting our analogy on it. I hope it's informative, because it's shows like this and people such as yourself
And
that
yourself.
kind of that inspired me to start this and to do this,
Yeah.
because I love history, I love policy, I love politics, of course I love business, and I hope our what do you call it, no, not psyche, what's that, like we give back to you, what do you call it, our like from us to you, like whatever. Okay, make fun of me.
It's that's what it is. I mean, look at this thing right here is, you can use it. You can say because we don't go really in depth. We kind of touch on topics and we go a little bit deep. But if you want to know more, you just got to get this. If you go Chat GPT, you could put a subject in there.
Yeah.
It'll go through all the different sources, so you don't have to go to Google and go, oh, with this one, it'll give you everything. It'll give you what's been said, and then it'll give you the sources at the
My
bottom.
new best friend, ChatGPT.
So do your own research. Don't believe the mainstream media. What do they call it? Legendary media? What are they? Legacy media.
Yeah.
Don't believe any of that shit, because they have an agenda, a narrative. We don't. We're just
But
saying, we're just talking about what we see.
You know what I was telling my friend yesterday?
What?
I'm saying that this thing. This can either be really, really good or really, really bad. I mean,
Yep.
you can also learn a lot from this thing.
I do.
Me too. I mean, just reading, refreshing your mind, having critical thinking, and watching interesting videos and facts, watching people like us,
Are you old enough to have had the Britannica Encyclopedia?
Of course, yeah. I had like freaking 7 CD-ROMs of Britannica.
Oh, you had the
Encyclopedia.
CD-ROMs, but we had the books. There was like
Yeah.
25
No,
books.
So when my dad bought my very first computer here, when was it? Like in 98, 99, sometime then there. He bought my very first computer. We purchased those Britannica Encyclopedia CD-ROMs. It was like seven different CDs, and yeah, I went through it a lot actually. They had these maps and world maps and history, and I love history.
Yeah.
I mean, I freaking took AP Art History in high school. Who does that? But anyways, yeah, it was interesting.
I was a big dust collector in my house.
Really? No, I
25
loved
books.
it. Me and my brother went through it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.